This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. I want to say welcome. Thank you for joining us on a good old Friday. And we thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast and wherever you download your podcast. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. We are wanting and needing those things because everybody else can find out about us. You don't want to keep us a secret. You don't keep greatness a secret. You share, so everybody else can be great. And with the information that they're receiving on a Monday through Friday basis, that's how we do right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Now, the Braves lose last night. Oh, what the heck did that mean? I don't know about you, T, but I was feeling some type of way last night watching that game. You can see the cracking in my voice. We got to talk about it. We can't run away from it. And half ATL Day Ones went to Flowery Branch today. We got some observations, some rapid fire questions. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. And last but not least, in for the culture. Tyler Perry out here cutting checks like that. Ooh, we'll talk about all that. But first, T, like I mentioned before, Braves lose 6-4. The guy who was saying the right choice and he was the right guy to be on the mound, Kyle Wright, it just didn't quite work. And it ended up being wrong. 4 home runs. That hasn't happened since Drew Smiley was on the team. Remember Drew Smiley?
Right. Remember him?
We were like, don't run him out there on the mound anymore. But Kyle Wright struggled last night. And it just didn't seem like the Braves were just ready for what they walked themselves into in Gotham.
That is a perfect way to say it. I felt like when watching the game, the Mets treated it almost like it was a playoff game, like maybe, an elimination game, if you will. That's the kind of intensity that they brought. And granted, you're in Citi Field Stadium, so of course they're going to have their fan base behind them. But it just felt like that where the Braves kind of walked into it like, oh, yeah, we're going to be good. We're all good. Well, no, because the Mets are dead set on this season, showing everybody that the Mets are not going to met. They're dead set on it. They showed you when they came to town recently, and now they're showing you at home. And one of the things that concerns me is this. The teams have met up now 8 times, right? And there have been 30 runs scored on both sides. But those 30 runs are not equal. That math ain't quite mathed equally because 5 of those games have been won by the Mets. So the Braves have got to wake up and understand that you cannot keep giving these games away, especially when you look at the fact that you just split a series with the Phillies that you could have easily won.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And when you think about what we saw last night, right? We talked about Kyle Wright struggling, but there seemed like for just a quick second when Ronald Acuna slapped that bad boy down center field, I was just, oh my God, yes, you can see the elation, almost like relief on his face as he's running around the bases and just like, oh my God, thank you. It's about time. It's been a long time since I've done this.
July 8th, to be exact.
Right. Early July, and here we are talking about almost dang near a month later. So we're not used to that when it comes to nephew running. And it seemed like that the Braves were gonna try to crawl back into this thing, but I mean, T, for me, like that was something that was really good to see. But I think that is this something that you think that Ronald Acuna may get him on the right track?
Catch me when they're halfway or more than halfway through the series.
Right.
So, catch me then, because you got 5 games to show us if nephew Ronnie is really back. This is just one game, encouraging, definitely encouraging, but then you balance it out with the fact that he struck out in the 7th inning at a critical point where that game could have been tied up. And then it really would have just been, would probably come down to the 9th inning, just to be honest. So that's where you say to yourself, don't know if that was showing that he's quite back, but catch me midway through or at the end of this series, and I might feel a little bit better about it. But he did acknowledge that it's, he does go up and down as far as maybe a little bit of soreness, if you will, or residuals from his injury. But ultimately, it's just a head thing. like whether it's at the plate or out there in right field, it's just a head thing. Once he gets over that hump of knowing that he's back and also just balancing and not trying to do too much, because that's what I felt like when he struck out. I was like, oh, wow, he kind of went back to that guy who's trying to do too much. As long as
Right.
he's just Ronald Acuna Jr., which we both know, Jarvis, is more than enough. He does not have to
Yeah.
be anything but Ronald Acuna Jr. But I tell you what, if the Braves are going to either do one of two things, win this division or end up hosting a wild card game, if they should get into a wild card situation, they're going to need him to return to form.
No doubt about it. And we'll talk about whether or not you talking about those playoffs, right? Can they be real contenders? Based off of what we saw last night, we'll talk about that. But T, first of all, tell the folks about what Bet Online. They got some special things going on over there, and let our know our viewers and listeners about what's going on with BetOnline.net.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see how things shift, right? And if you want to
Mm-hmm.
know how things shift, say, for example, last week or from June 1st all the way until I'd say the end of last week, betonline.net would have said, hey, we're giving, the lean a little bit to the Braves, if you will. But now the lean may be back to the Mets. Probably going to go back and forth all season in terms of who is going to win the NL East. If you want to know where those trends are, you want to know how to bet, it's betonline.net. That's your number one source for all your betting needs, sports info, sports developments. If you want to know, hey, unfortunately, if some player went down, how does that affect that team in terms of their ability to win, whether that's baseball, football, or whichever sport that you choose. Also, you look at some of those niche sports, MMA, boxing, and golf. There's even information for those sports. And if you like podcasts, which we think you do because you tune into ATL Day Ones every
Rock
day,
with us.
they also have podcasts for, I would say, the beginner, someone who's not familiar with betting but wants to get familiar. Go to that website and it'll have podcasts and all sorts of news for you. So again, it's easy. After you watch us, next stop is betonline.net. Go there on your device, your mobile device, or your desktop if you're at home, and just learn about all the trends, all the action in any and every sport there is, because betonline.net is where the game starts.
No doubt about it. Better go and get started before everybody you get left. How about that? Get started before you get left because betonline.net got everything you need. Now, T, the Braves need to have a better showing because, based off of what we saw last night, I know for me, it just looked like the Mets they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. They was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we have to win this game opener because you can even say that because anytime you're talking about a closer in today's game doing a
Yes.
6-out close,
Right.
like going 2 innings, your closer pitching 2 innings. Yeah,
Yeah.
that lets you know that Buck Showalter and the likes were very serious about this game, and it
Yeah.
just seemed like it was just a playoff atmosphere. And I don't think
Yeah.
it looked like the Braves were kind of a little shell shocked, a little bit. So I think that I don't know how you necessarily change that. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's a conversation or if it's Snicker, sitting down and having one of those type meetings. They've had it
Mhm.
before,
Yeah.
and they end up going on a nice run. But it just
Mhm.
seems like the Mets were just
They're on
all
a mission.
around just better last night.
Yeah, they were on a mission. And even when it got tight or it looked like, okay, the Braves have some life, you look at what Carlos Carrasco did. I mean, he sat down Swanson, he sat down Olson, he sat down Wright. Like he sat down four straight to say, nah, not tonight. And then on top of that, like you said, you had what Edwin Diaz did going out there for 2 innings. First time he had ever done that in his career and just shut any opportunity for a comeback down. So what the Braves have to do is have selective amnesia, right? They've got to
Hmm.
forget that that game ever happened, especially for those that didn't show improve, like Kyle Wright. Forget what happened. Ian Anderson, I hope you didn't pay attention to it. Just get out
Forget
there
about
and
it. It didn't happen.
exactly. Just get out there and do Ian Anderson things like you did last week. And that's the starting point, Jarvis, because if he can do what he did last week and the Braves can give just a little more run support, then this series becomes 1-1. And I like it because at that point, then it becomes the best of three. And then I feel like the Braves have every opportunity to win the series.
I think, all Ian Anderson has to do is think that, hey, Alex Anthopoulos is going to trade for his replacement, and he's going to ball out and pitch a good one, just like we did last time. So yeah,
Yes.
that's what we'll be looking for as the Braves take on the Mets tonight. Was it Taijuan Walker is on the
Yes.
mound for the Mets tonight as well? First pitch is at 7:10. Hopefully, we'll see a different result.
Yes.
But coming up next, though. Like I said, one half of ATL Day One's out in Flowery Branch today. We'll talk about what we saw, and we'll give you a little rapid fire questions. That's next on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Don't go anywhere.